Welcome to Ziffity Quick Chat.
We need flexibility, accessibility in how we pay. The digital wallets only helps merchants, especially, to make sure they reduce friction. Social commerce, we see these platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and others really utilizing their technology. Cryptocurrency, hey, I have Bitcoin, I only want to pay through Bitcoin. And you're, as a merchant, you're able to offer it. Awesome.
Hi, folks. I'm Mackenzie Floyd from Ziffity Digital. Welcome to our podcast channel, Ziffity Quick Chat. The topic for today is top 5 e-commerce digital payment trends to look out for in 2023 and beyond. E-commerce has evolved by leaps and bounds, and so have the technologies that have enabled the industry over the years. A lot of trends are probably crossing your mind, but in this edition of the podcast, we'll be discussing the latest in the list, payment solutions. The digital payment sector in e-commerce has witnessed significant innovations in recent years and is growing remarkably well. In fact, payments doesn't just mean facilitating transactions. It's an experience from your consumer's point of view. Your consumers expect it to be short, frictionless, secure, and fast on any device or channel they use to buy. For merchants, it has become all the more important to deliver a smooth payment experience, to improve conversions, and to make a good first impression. As an e-commerce store owner, it's better to be informed on the major payment trends that are here to stay. So today, you'll hear it from one of the sales enablement experts at Adobe Commerce, Nitu Walker. Nitu has garnered sound experience in the payments industry from the early stages of her career. Today, she'll highlight the top payment trends that will help e-commerce brands stay prepared for the upcoming year and beyond. Hey, Nitu, welcome to Ziffity Quick Chat. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Mackenzie, for having me today.
Good. Yeah, it's so great to get you on here finally. So let's just jump right into it. What's the current state of digital payments in e-commerce?
I mean, I have seen such a tremendous growth in payments, especially in the past couple of years. I think the pandemic really fueled the need for digital payments and ingenuity and just having the ability to and accessibility to take payments anywhere. And so you've seen the rise of mobile wallets, you've seen the rise of buy now, pay later, and we've even seen QR codes come back, which back in the day, that was a really popular thing, kind of died down, and now it's all over the place, where whether you're shopping in grocery stores or online or even at restaurants. So I think for digital payments, I only see more happening, and I'm excited to see what the future holds, especially going into 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And like you mentioned, COVID definitely has accelerated the need for digital payments. That's just, there's no way of getting around that. Everybody needs digital payments now. When you weren't allowed to leave your house, how else were you going to buy things?
Exactly. I mean, I know the old saying was like cash is king, but now it's like I don't even carry cash anymore. And sometimes I don't even have to pull out my physical wallet anymore.
I know it's wild, the world we live in now. So speaking of digital payments, you mentioned BNPL, so buy now, pay later. Do you think those have become kind of a mandatory payment option in e-commerce?
Especially in retail. I think as we see what's happening in our economic status right now, we need flexibility, accessibility in how we pay, and we don't always want to take a hit on our credit score, right? So I think especially with Gen Z shoppers, we see that trend really rising, being able to pay in 4, pay in 6, and have that flexible payment option to still get the things that they need and want. And especially in the holidays, right? We want to feel that Christmas or holiday spirit. And with that being said, we want to buy presents. We want to show our love through gifting, and being able to do that by having flexible ways to pay. Buy now, pay later offers all types of shoppers to get what they want and be able to provide what their friends and family need.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's so many different platforms out there, Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, Sezzle. There's so many different options, and I live in Colorado. So I actually decided to get my ski pass using Affirm, and it made my decision so much easier. It's like $700, which is a big hit, just, if you're just going to pay for it in one lump sum. But I actually ended up getting 2 ski passes, the Icon and the Epic. So because I had the option to do the buy now, pay later, I was like, oh, this makes it so easy for me to buy this. The decision is made.
And I think as we see buy now, pay later kind of expand, yes, there's different platforms to utilize it. Like you mentioned, Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna, even PayPal. These are trends that you're going to see in other industries, right? Like the travel industries, being able to travel and utilize buy now, pay later to take a trip. So that way you don't have to worry about like, am I going to be able to afford this? Or will I have enough money when I go to Europe or go to Mexico? So it's providing flexibility and opportunities to people that probably would have never been able to do it before.
Yeah, I totally agree. So these days, everybody has a smartphone. And you mentioned this before, but what's your take on the rise of the use of digital wallets, and kind of what are the most preferred digital wallets that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I have an iPhone. Apple Pay is on the ready for me. I love the accessibility as far as I don't have to put in my shipping address or my billing address. My favorite payment methods are already on there. And I think where we're seeing a lot of growth is like, yes, you can do it in person. Like I use it at Whole Foods, but now like I don't shop on a physical computer. I'm on my phone, I get an email about a new ad, and then I'm able to say like, hey, I want it right now. I pick Apple Pay and it's done within seconds. I think the rise of digital wallets only helps merchants, especially to make sure they reduce friction, they reduce cart abandonment, because if I have to go find my wallet to put in a credit card, more likely or not, I'm going to forget to actually complete the transaction, or maybe I'll find a different retailer that sells similar or the same goods. So I think digital wallets are only going to become more necessary for merchants to have and be able to provide to their shoppers, because as a consumer, I want ease and flexibility. And as a merchant, you want to be able to offer different types of payment methods that your shoppers are asking for. The meeting where the consumer is at is key. And that's where digital wallets are going to really, only help and not hurt.
Totally agree. Same thing yesterday. I was at lunch and decided to skip the line and buy, order on the app. And it was a quick decision because they offered using my digital wallet as a form of payment. So I didn't even have to consider it. And what's funny is it wasn't even an option to choose between how I wanted to pay. It was just boom, boom, the double click on the side of your face and it's paid. And so it takes all of the decision making or the hesitation completely out of the transaction. So yeah, it's great for consumers, great for merchants as well.
I know Apple Pay is like very popular. Obviously, there's other, I don't want to get into the Apple versus Android argument, but obviously there's Google Pay, there's Samsung Pay, there's other providers that are now offering very quick options to pay online. So that way merchants do not have to worry about cart abandonment, do not have to worry about not having that repeat customer. So I'm really excited to see like how that kind of evolves. I mean, I just saw like now you can just literally use your phone and tap somebody else's phone and done. You don't even have to like do anything to send money to friends.
Yeah, that is so wild. I mean, and what's going to happen the next 5 years? How much easier can it get to send money or to pay for things? It truly is crazy. So let's talk a little bit about how social commerce is enabling an end-to-end shopping experience for consumers. How do these transactions typically happen in social commerce?
Yeah, so I think back in the day when Facebook first came out, and if I really liked something, I would have to search for that item to even know how to get it. And so now with social commerce, we see these platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and others really utilizing their technology and matching it with retailers so that way merchants can offer an end-to-end solution by utilizing the platform to sell their goods online. And as a shopper, if I see something really cool, hey, I want to buy it right now, being able to tap on my phone, click, put it in my cart and pay through the platform rather than having to search for it on a retailer just makes that shopping experience even more delightful. And it's speedy, it's secure, it's also providing merchants a base where they normally would not find customers. because I know I find a lot of brands online through social media, and I would not normally know about it if I had to like go to a mall or find it like Google searching, right? So it's just providing a huge base for retailers to really express their brand, find new customers, and really increase customer loyalty.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And with the abundance of influencers, social media influencers, the work is being done outside of the hands of the actual merchant. So on TikTok, I'm on there all the time. There's a trend that's hashtag TikTok made me buy it, where these people all over the world, whether they're, paid influencers or not, are influencing others to make purchases and to buy the things immediately with, like with this one-click checkout and within the app that they're on. So it really is just making buying things, again, there's no hesitation, it's immediate. And really there's zero friction to when you're paying in one of these apps.
Oh yeah, I totally believe in instant gratification and my wallet knows it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So again, with smartphones and the popularity of smartphones, and like you mentioned before, QR codes have been around for a while, but what is a QR code payment? And can you highlight a few QR code payment use cases in e-commerce?
Yeah, of course. So I think when we think about QR codes, we think about, oh, seems kind of old. Like we used to do this like 5, 10 years ago, but it's really come back. And I think the pandemic really pushed this because it's a contactless way to make a payment. And so basically the QR code has the information of a general link where it'll redirect you to a payment page. So I've seen this scenario in many places, including grocery stores. I've seen this at restaurants. And we're also seeing this now in retailers because, hey, check this QR code and pay instantly online without having to wait in line for somebody to check me out. And so I think this technology, while it seems somewhat old, is now rebranded into contactless, quick, no waiting. So it's now sexier to pay by QR code than having to wait in line. And why wouldn't you? I recently went into a store at my local mall and they had a QR code and I was able to pay without having to actually like wait in line, which was a pretty long line. So it only helps merchants really meet where their customers are at and also provide that frictionless experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And something just popped in my mind when you were talking about that at restaurants, QR code payments and being able to split your bill up. And using using the same QR code, or your bill, your receipt has a QR code on it. Everyone can scan, choose the items that they've purchased or eaten already, and then go ahead and pay for it. So again, it's just another way that there's just a frictionless ease of payment. Even in something that's just been a classic, you get one bill, how are we going to split it? All these different ways. It's just endless how they can use QR payments.
Yeah, it's just another way for merchants to increase that customer loyalty because I will be going back to that shop or that restaurant because I remember, hey, this is so easy and I don't have to like wait. And this also satisfies that instant gratification.
Yeah, totally. And then, with the introduction of new technologies, there's going to be new types of fraud. So what are some key fraud prevention strategies or techniques for merchants in e-commerce?
Yeah. So I think coming from like the Adobe Commerce side, keeping up with your platform, making sure you're up to date is always important because when you're not up to date, that's where you're going to see some of those vulnerabilities happen. Also, there's so many new fraud solution tools out there. It's not just about, buyer and seller protection, but it's also about having AI-backed technology to see which transactions are actually fraudulent. So there's tools like, PayPal has their chargeback protection plans. There's Signify, there's Forder, there's Riskify. There's so many different options now, which can help merchants just really handle, like, especially during like the peak season, those large type of transactions, whether it's frequency or larger amounts, and make sure that they are protecting themselves, but also protecting their shoppers. And so I think the biggest tips, keeping up to date, utilize tools that will help prevent fraud and just, also keeping track of like what is happening with your transactions, so whether it's manually checking or utilizing those tools and knowing who your customer base is. And so seeing where customers are shopping from or where they're ordering from and knowing, hey, this doesn't seem right. And then utilizing some of the tools that I mentioned to kind of combat that, especially during the peak season, during the holiday season, where we see an influx of orders and an influx of shopping.
Yeah. And what kind of fraud prevention tools does Adobe already come with, like out of the box?
Yeah, so with payment services, so we launched this last year. We utilize PayPal's commerce platform, which you have built-in fraud tools already available, but they also have optional chargeback protection plans. So this is using AI technology to know which customers or which orders are actually legitimate. So that way you know that you're feeling protected, you know that your shoppers are actually, legitimate. And that way you're protected for the holiday season and beyond.
Love it. And so the last question here, you hear about crypto all over the news. It's all over social media. It's everywhere. It's really hard to ignore. What's your take on cryptocurrencies in e-commerce payments?
Yeah, I mean, hey, crypto is a sexy word. And everyone's really like buzzing about it. It's up, it's down. It's something that, people get really excited about. And so I'm excited to see what happens with crypto. I think I'm always a little bit cautious because there is still a lot of unknown when it comes to cryptocurrency, and it is so volatile as well. I think having the ability to even offer it is something that's already a game changer. And so people that are very invested in cryptocurrency, hey, I have Bitcoin, I only want to pay through Bitcoin, and you're, as a merchant, you're able to offer it, awesome. But I think it's something that needs to be treated carefully and really knowing and understanding how cryptocurrency works and really keeping up with, what's going on. Is this something that's getting regulated? Is it something that's going to be protecting the merchant and protecting the shopper as well? So I say, let's see what happens. I think it's exciting. I think it's something where I will keep my eye out, but I don't know if it's something that is as high of a trend as like buy now, pay later and digital wallet. Not yet anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's one of the scarier trends, just with all the uncertainty. And I feel like I see in the news, it's changing every day. It's like you said, it's up, it's down, it's all around. So that's definitely one of the, like you said, one of the crazier trends.
Yeah, for sure. But I know why merchants want it. Like, hey, I hear it all the time, but I think it's something where I would be cautious about. But at the same time, if you can offer it and you feel comfortable with it, it's something that's available.
Yeah. Well, great. We just got through a lot of e-commerce trends that we're going to see. So thank you so much for joining us. It was very insightful. I'm sure our partners and our merchants have definitely learned a lot from you, and looking forward to hearing again about the e-commerce trends, in the future and what else is to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.